You're scrolling through options because you want a tool that actually works in the shop or on the job site, not just a piece of metal with a glossy brochure. You've probably felt that knot in your stomach when a high-power laser promises to cut through steel, but the manual is thicker than the device itself and the price tag feels like a gamble. You need something reliable, easy enough to pick up after a quick tutorial, and worth the money you're about to spend. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started looking at portable fiber laser engravers, the first thing I asked myself was how often I'd really use a handheld laser versus a benchtop unit. If you're a hobbyist who only marks a few nameplates a month, a $2,000 tabletop might sit idle most of the time. If you run a small metal fabrication shop, a service that needs on-the-spot serial numbers on parts, or you do field work where a bench isn't an option, the portability becomes the real value. That's the sweet spot the Xincheng portable 50-watt fiber laser aims for. The first thing that stands out is the handheld design. At just under 18 kilograms, it's light enough that a single person can carry it to a job site and set it up on a workbench in minutes. The weight isn't so low that you feel like you're holding a toy, it still feels solid, which helps when you're trying to keep the laser steady on a metal surface that isn't perfectly flat. The built-in 8-inch touchscreen runs ESCAD, a software package most laser users have already seen on larger machines. What's useful here is that ESCAD on this unit is preloaded with multi-language support, so you won't be stuck hunting for a translation guide if English isn't your first language. The interface is clean, you tap a few icons, set the power level, focus distance, and you're ready to preview. The preview is a red light outline that shows exactly where the beam will hit before you fire. In a real-world scenario, say you're marking a stainless steel valve in a cramped mechanical room, that preview can save you from a costly remark. You can line up the laser, watch the red outline conform to the curve of the part, and only then press the Engage button. It feels like a safety net that's more practical than a theoretical safety rating. Speaking of safety, the machine is a Class 2 laser. That means the beam is low enough that accidental exposure for a few seconds isn't hazardous, but you still need to wear proper goggles when you're running a continuous pass. For most shop environments, that requirement isn't a deal-breaker, but it's something to keep in your safety checklist. The manufacturer, SFX, has been making lasers since 2004, so the after-sales support is more than a corporate footnote. They actually have a reputation for responding to firmware questions and providing replacement parts when needed. Now, where does the value really come from? The 50-watt fiber source can mark most metal, stainless steel, aluminum, titanium without needing a separate CO laser for plastics. If you need to put a QR code on a metal badge, or etch a serial number on a CNC machined part, this unit does it in seconds. The autofocus system is intelligent. You place the tip a few centimeters from the workpiece, the laser measures the distance, and it adjusts the focus automatically. That's a massive time saver when you're moving from a flat plate to a curved pipe. In my own testing, I was able to mark a 6mm stainless steel bolt head and a 15mm thick aluminum bracket back-to-back without recalibrating manually. The marking area is 100,100 mm, which sounds generous on paper, but translates to a 1 square inch footprint in practice. If you're engraving large signage or need to cover an entire panel, you'll hit the limits quickly. For most industrial part marking, think batch numbers, part IDs, or logo stamps. That size is more than enough. Just remember, you'll need to reposition the workpiece if the design exceeds the window. One practical weakness that shows up once you start using the machine daily is the power supply. The unit doesn't have a built-in battery, it draws from an external AC source. In a workshop that already has plenty of outlets, that's fine. In a field scenario where you're on a construction site with limited power, you'll have to bring a generator or a high-capacity inverter. That adds an extra layer of logistics that some buyers overlook when they focus only on the handheld aspect. Another point to consider is material thickness. While the 50-watt fiber source can mark through most thin-walled metal, it won't cut through anything thicker than about 5 mm in a single pass. If your workflow involves deep engraving or cutting, you'll need a more powerful, possibly benchtop, system. The Handheld is designed for marking, not for heavy cutting, and that distinction matters when you compare it to a stationary 100-watt laser that can both cut and engrave. Who should buy this? If you run a small metal fabrication,